She then revealed everything to JML, telling him how she'd been tormented for 15 years by Smile.Dog ever since she clicked the hyperlink. She explained how both Smile.Dog and the beckoning hand appeared in her dreams every single night, and in these nightmares, Smile.Dog talked to her. Mary went on to tell JML how Smile.Dog isn't really a dog, despite its name, and how she was still uncertain as to what Smile.Dog truly is. About halfway through the email, Mary described how Smile.Dog urged her to, quote, spread the word, telling her that this was the only way she would be free from her torment. Mary then said how she knew Smile.Dog wanted her to show the image to someone else, because she had been mailed a floppy disk with no return address that contained smile.jpg. Towards the end of the email, Mary talked about how she thought about giving the image to a coworker or even her husband Terrence, but the idea revolted her. Mary then wrote about how hard this whole ordeal had been, but that she'd stood strong for 15 years. She even came clean about how she planned on giving JML the floppy disk when he came for the interview, but changed her mind at the last second because she was ashamed and couldn't bear the thought of ruining his life. In the closing lines of her email, Mary warned JML, urging him to stop his investigation into Smile.jpg, as he may eventually meet an individual who isn't as strong as she is. Someone who wouldn't hesitate to carry out Smile.Dog's request by sharing the image. The final sentence Mary wrote was, quote, stop while you're still whole, before signing off. About a month later, her husband, Terrence, told JML that Mary had unfortunately taken her own life. He'd seen the email and urged JML once again to heed Mary's advice. Terrence said he'd read the email and even burned the copy of Smile.jpg that had been mailed to Mary. He even recalled how the floppy disk let out a disturbing hissing sound, similar to an animal, as the flame engulfed it. JML confirmed Mary's death in an online obituary in a couple of Chicago newspapers, and decided it was time to stop looking into Smile.jpg. However, nearly a year after Mary's death, JML would receive another email from someone called Elsa Here 82 with the subject, Smile. Elsa Her claimed to know that JML had been looking for Smile.jpg. He told JML how he'd seen the image and how it wasn't that bad, so he was just spreading the word. He then ended his email with a smiling face emoji, and JML could see the image attachment titled Smile.jpg. He considered downloading the image, as he wondered if he too would be able to spread the word, just like Elsa Her 82 had done. And with that, JML's tale with the infamous Smile.Dog came to a close. So there you have it, an abridged version of the Smile.Dog internet legend. The full version can be found on the official Creepypasta website if anyone listening wants to know more. But now that we've covered the major parts of the story, I'd like to delve deeper into answering these two pressing questions. What is the original Smile.jpg? And where did this image come from? tracking down the original smile.jpg can be a bit tricky, because if you type the words SmileDog into Google's search bar, you'll be greeted with a dozen variations, all claiming to be smile.jpg. One of the more popular versions is the Chimera variant, where the aforementioned SmileDog looks more like a mountain lion than a husky. Another widespread version of smile.jpg that I often came across was the inverted variant, a black and white image where the beckoning hand is placed above the smiling husky, rather than behind it. These variants are just the tip of the iceberg, as there are probably hundreds of SmileDog images out there, all claiming to be the original smile.jpg. In addition to the hundreds of variants that have popped up over time, the name associated with the original smile.jpg has also changed. In the original story, the image was named smile.jpg, and the paranormal entity was called smile.dog. However, with every new SmileDog tale that was shared online, new aliases were introduced to the lore. And SmileDog is sometimes referred to as smile.avi, smiledog.jpg, or Saiyan, depending on which version of the story is being told. To find out the truth, I traced the earliest versions of smile.jpg that were shared on the internet during the first few months of 2009. Back then, there were only two versions of the SmileDog image, the grainy Polaroid variant and the highly saturated red variant. There used to be an endless debate over which of these two images was the original during the first few years of the SmileDog legend. Some people argued that the scanned Polaroid variant was listed as the original image on both the Creepypasta Wiki and the Villains Wiki. Others were convinced that the red variant was the original that had been attached to the 4chan paranormal board. They also argued that the Polaroid variant was a remake that was posted a little while after the original had started circulating online. Before the actual creator of the story revealed which of the two images was the original in 2019, it was very difficult to tell who was telling the truth in the early 2010s, as both images originated during the first few months of 2009. Visiting an archive of the 4chan thread on the Wayback Machine didn't help matters either, as the original image post was broken. So I decided to trace both variants as far back as I could to see if I could find the exact dates both images were first posted online. During my search, I tracked both variants from the early 2010s all the way back to January 2009, when the 4chan post was made. I started with the scanned Polaroid version, which I began referring to as SmileDog variant 22.09. I first uncovered this early post from July 14th, 2012. It was uploaded to DeviantArt by Tempest Pataki, with a caption that read, "The original smile.jpg dog." On August 16, 2011, SmileDog variant 22.09 was shared again on PhotoBuckets by an anonymous person under the username Kitty Litter. As I continued, I eventually came across an altered version of the grainy Polaroid image that had been uploaded on the 20th of August, 2010. I was intrigued, as this particular post was attached to several claims stating that this was the unedited version of the scanned Polaroid image and that it predated SmileDog variant 22.09. However, it was pretty clear to see that these claims were false, and after doing a little digging, I found out that it was an artist's rendition of the original image that had been cropped and edited. The earliest post, SmileDog variant 22.09, that I could find was uploaded to Flickr on the 22nd of June 2009 by Liam Harris 1987, roughly 10 months before the SmileDog story was posted on April 28, 2010. This is why I refer to the image as SmileDog variant 22.09. As that's the earliest date, the grainy Polaroid image can still be found on the internet today, at least to my knowledge. Even though I came across a slew of evidence that proves SmileDog variant 22.09 was referenced several times online before June 22, 2009, I could not find any other verifiable records of the scanned Polaroid image that predated both the story on creepypasta.com and the creation of its creepypasta wiki page on August 27, 2010. To make sure I didn't miss any traceable posts that predated Liam's Flickr upload, I repeatedly ran the Polaroid version through several reverse image search engines, like TinEye, Google Lens, Yandex Images, Bing Visual Search, CopySeeker, but nothing older than the Flickr post ever came up. In the end, I wasn't able to definitively uncover the very first post of Small Dog variant 22.09. And even though I was sure there was still an older post out there somewhere, finding it was nigh impossible. That said, I was able to uncover a slew of early threads and comments that confirmed the Polaroid version was a remake of the original red variant. I put together several anonymous comments That said, I was able to uncover a slew of early threads and comments that confirmed the Polaroid version was a remake of the original red variant. I put together several anonymous comments ranging from 2009 to 2013 from people who attested to seeing the red variant first on the 4chan board in 2009, before the Polaroid version began gaining traction online. One of the earlier comments I came across was posted in 2011 by Nate, who compared the new Polaroid version to the red version he'd initially seen in the 4chan thread on January 7th, 2009. Not really that creepy. I read the pasta related to it, and paired with the original picture, one without the smile chopped onto it, it was mildly unsettling, but that's it. Another similar comment was made under a Reddit post asking when the original smile.jpg was changed, and one user confirmed that the red variant was the only image that existed when he first came across the smile.creepypasta. There was even an archive 4chan thread where an anon commented, "Gotta love all fake smile dogs," under a post of the Polaroid version. Many comments in the thread agreed, claiming that the red variant was the original smile.jpg, preceding the second, more popular version. Even though the Polaroid version wasn't the original smile.jpg, several questions remained, as people often wondered where this version had even come from, but the identity of who created the Polaroid image was never uncovered. Despite endless hours of research, no one has been able to find anything concrete. But over the years, there have been several speculative theories regarding the Polaroid's origin. One of the strongest theories claims the letters PO, which can be seen in the image, are the initials of the artist who made the Polaroid. I tried searching for any similar photoshopped images with the PO initials and compared them to active artists in 2009, but nothing concrete came up. I changed focus after a comment suggested PO means paranormal option. The name paranormal option sounded oddly similar to infamous paranormal forums like Paranormalis and Unexplained Mysteries in the late 2000s. Back then, bizarre images often appeared in those niche forums around 2009. I tried tracing the Polaroid to a similarly named forum, but this was another dead end. I also came across a couple of Redditors over the course of my search who claimed to have found the original Polaroid. The first post was shared to r/creepypasta on May 17, 2022 by Amel Hieronymus, with a description that read, "Did I accidentally find the image used for smile.jpg?" Attached to his post was an image comparing the Polaroid variant with another grainy image of a generic husky. I already knew this was one of the hundreds of false claims on Reddit, but I still looked into the image, and just as I expected, I didn't find anything substantial. I later uncovered another Reddit post shared on December 23, 2024 by investigator number 3850. This individual claimed to have seen the original Polaroid version. He even added a link to the original Polaroid, which led me to this image. I knew these claims were also speculative at best, but after doing a little digging, I traced the supposed original image to a 2017 post on a blog called Life with Siberian Huskies. This was just another false claim, as there was no history of the image before 2017. To find the Polaroid's image, I tried a new approach, revisiting the original January 2009 4chan thread and carefully examining the comments. I found a few interesting ones. The first thing I noticed was the differing opinions and mixed reception to the original smile.jpg. One comment talked about how the red image freaked him out, while another comment felt the picture sucked, writing, "It looks more like a pig than a dog to me. Good story, but the image sucks." Even though the original story had already stated that Smile Dog wasn't really a dog, a lot of Anons weren't satisfied with the image and want Smile Dog to look a bit more like an actual dog. So they began creating their own versions. Another Anon's comment seemed to confirm this, as it read, "It's interesting that some exit data reassuring people it is fake makes them want to fake it better and spread it around, considering the story." While I wasn't completely sure that this comment directly supported my theory, I think that in an attempt to fake it better, one of the several Anons created the Polaroid image. This would also explain why both images are often used together in certain Smile Dog stories, where the Polaroid image is referred to as Smile Dog's original form, and the red variant as his demon form. Tweaking creepypastas and their accompanying images was a common practice back then, as even though people knew the stories were fake, many still attempted to make them more believable. I also came across many comments from Anons discussing scrubbing the photo's EXIF data and turning the image into a GIF to make it even more frightening. One particular chain of messages piqued my interest, as someone suggested using a version of the image without any EXIF data and naming the file smile or smile.dog.jpg. These messages were followed by a response that read, quote, "Doing it right now." And a few minutes later, an image with different dimensions and file size than the original red variant was posted. The image link on the archive post was broken, and I couldn't confirm whether this was the original Polaroid variant or simply the same red variant with its EXIF data scrubbed. I did, however, write down the thread ID of this particular post, which was 1276055. I searched for plebs, archive.mo, and desuarchive.com for the thread number, despite knowing it was unlikely. Since 4chan doesn't officially archive most posts, third parties like desuarchive and 4plebs independently archive some content. However, no results matching the details were found in their databases. At this point, my only option was to break the scanned Polaroid into 4 conceptual layers to identify the base assets the anonymous poster likely used. This was a more practical approach than repeatedly trying to find the Polaroid's original post. The image was constructed in 4 layers. The background was a dark room interior. The second layer was the husky's head, likely cropped from a then popular stock photo. The third layer featured warped human teeth, probably from a stock dental image. And the fourth and final layer was the beckoning hand. Upon closer inspection, the hand appears entirely different from the one used in the red variant. While it was difficult to make out the full hand due to the image's graininess, it seems to be reaching towards the husky rather than making a gesture seen in the original smile.jpg. I ran each of these assets through multiple reverse image search engines. However, every result ultimately led back to the Polaroid itself. No matter how much I tried to isolate individual elements, such as the husky head or the human teeth, I was unable to trace them back to any identifiable stock or source images. The most likely explanation, then, is that the Anon who created the Polaroid repeatedly recompressed the image using aggressive degradation, a common image manipulation practice in the early 2000s. While this is just an assumption, the extreme graininess suggests the creator intentionally made it so, in an attempt to keep the source images hidden. This process would have destroyed much of the original fine detail, making our attempts to trace the individual source assets extremely difficult and virtually impossible. I later came across a similar theory in a comment posted by Spade666 on July 3rd, 2010. Spade, who identified himself as a Photoshop expert, examined the Polaroid image and deduced two things. One, that the PO initials were added using a translucent brush, and two, the creator made deliberate efforts to obscure fine details. Even so, he was also unable to identify the base images. All I was left with were my own speculations. Maybe this Anon's comment from the original 4chan thread was the answer. However, with the image link broken, I can never truly confirm whether this was the original Polaroid variant of smile.jpg. The Polaroid variant, being created just a few hours after the initial post, would explain why both the red variant and the Polaroid variant are so closely linked, and why they are often interchanged as the original, even if the red version came first. That said, without proof, my assumptions are no different from the many theories circulating the internet today. With nothing left to uncover, I began looking into the origins of the red variants. I already knew it was posted on January 7th, 2009 at exactly 9:34 p.m. So the only question I had now was, where did this image come from? But as I dug a bit deeper, I realized the question I should have asked was, where did these images come from? The original smile.jpg was essentially a Frankenstein image that meshed several source images together, in addition to some good Photoshop editing. The identification of all these base images is still an ongoing process, but a couple of them have been uncovered. One of the first assets to be found from the original smile.jpg was the curtains in the picture's background. The source image was revealed to be the cover art for a 2008 EP titled Sitting Alone in a Dark Empty Room. The EP was released by a band called Balaam Akab and can be found on this website. The EP was released on the 1st of January 2008, about a year before the original smile.jpg was posted onto 4chan. The next source image was the human teeth used in the original smile.jpg. There were two different images that could potentially be the source. On a now archived 4chan thread, there were several conversations about which assets were used in the original smile.jpg. And on August 1st, 2013, an Anon posted this comment: "I fucking found it already. People already know the smile dog. I can post the same image used for his teeth too." The Anon's comment was then followed by this image, with another comment that read, "Same teeth used in the picture." This image can be traced to a blog called The Teeth of Steph. It was here that I found out that the teeth belonged to a woman named Stephanie, who had been blogging her braces journey. While Stephanie's blog was last updated on March 12th, 2012, I could tell the image itself was taken much earlier, probably back in the mid-2000s or early 2009, but I wasn't able to confirm this. I also wasn't convinced that the image the Anon posted was the original asset, due to several irregularities when comparing the image to the original smile.jpg. However, I did come across a much older image of Stephanie's teeth on her blog that felt like a much better candidate. This image was taken before Stephanie's braces went on, and according to her blog, she got her braces on January 22nd, 2008. This confirms the image existed long before the original smile.jpg, and its similarities make it a much better candidate for the source image. I'm assuming again, but the Anon probably got these two images mixed up, since they were both from the same blog. The image of Stephanie's teeth was widely believed to be the source image in the early 2010s. But as the search for the base images continued, several recent theories point to this stock image. It dates to August 8th, 2012, when it was posted on a now-defunct website called worth1000.com, which hosted Photoshop contests and digital art. This dental stock image has been used almost everywhere, and while I was only able to trace the photo back to 2012, I assumed its origins was much older, possibly dating back to 2007. Then there's also this third potential source image. While it appeared to be a strong candidate, with several claims that it was the most likely source image, I wasn't fully convinced. I could understand why many people believe the creator of smile.jpg used this particular image. However, I believe the events happen in reverse, as the creator of this image likely pulled his own assets from the original smile.jpg. This image can be traced to an artist called Plasma Reaper. I then used TinEye's reverse image search to pinpoint the oldest post, and the results led to the artist's now defunct DeviantArt page. The image was titled Face of SCP-895 and was first posted on July 28, 2012, roughly 3.5 years after the original Smile.jpg had been posted. At the end, I was left with Stephanie's teeth and the dental stock image. These were the strongest candidates. But even then, when I tried to compare the two images by overlaying them over the original Smile.jpg, neither of them was a complete match. I'm not saying they aren't the source assets, but due to the creator's distortion and manipulation, it's very difficult to say for certain which of the two is the actual source image. The third and most important source asset was the dog. Since the original 4chan post in 2009, hundreds, if not thousands of attempts have been made to find the source husky used in the original Smile.jpg. A couple of anons on 4chan thought they solved the mystery in the early 2010s, as back then, the general consensus was that this meme image was the source husky. This funny dog meme has been online forever, and I was able to trace the earliest surviving post to a random thread on February 5th, 2008, which proved it did predate the original Smile.jpg. However, there were still some doubts, and some people weren't convinced. Another popular theory back then was that the source husky was taken from one of the many skeptical dog memes circulating the web at the time. This blue-eyed husky was often said to be the source back in 2009, but this theory was debunked after people found out that this image was initially posted in November 2009. The mystery of the source husky remained unsolved for years until February 8, 2022, when Reddit user NotHurtingAnyone5678 shared a post onto r/creepypasta, writing, "I think I found one of the images used to make Smile Dog. The eyes and facial markings look exactly the same." I'd also like to note that several similar posts confirming this image as the source husky had already been shared several times online before 2022. However, the Reddit post shared by NotHurtingAnyone5678 is the most prominent post to cite, as it was broadly identified and confirmed, at least to my knowledge. The exact date of the initial reveal is still unknown, as no one knows the origin of the source husky image, since it was likely a private photo. So I decided to cite this post as the major reveal, rather than the many niche posts that were uploaded earlier. Several comparisons and overlays have proven without a doubt that this was indeed the source husky used in the original Smile.jpg. This popular meme image was often shared across several forums on 4chan, around the same time the Smile Dog creepypasta was posted. The photo of the Siberian Husky can also be dated back to April 15, 2008, with the oldest surviving upload being a post on petpop.com. However, the remaining source assets, the beckoning hand and Smile Dog's body, are still unknown. One of the more prominent theories is that Smile Dog's torso was heavily painted over using Photoshop's smudge tool and the low opacity brush overlays, as this was probably the creator's attempt to mask the source image. Attempts to identify the hand, meanwhile, by isolating the source and running the image through reverse image search, also proved futile, as the source asset could be anything, with one theory stating that it was probably the creator's own hand. Therefore, the only person who could solve these mysteries is the same person who created this image. During the years following the initial 4chan post, both the Smile Dog creepypasta and the original Smile.jpg were credited to an anonymous person. However, 10 years later, the creator, a man named Michael J. Lutz, posted this tweet on October 22nd, 2019. Since we're having a Smile Dog moment, here's an answer I gave a while ago when someone emailed me to ask why I made it. Michael explained how he was reading a lot of creepypastas on 4chan's X-board when he wrote the original Smile Dog story, and how it had occurred to him that the Smile Dog idea would work in that format. He'd read enough stories to reverse engineer the genre, which is why SmileDog's story began as an anon, sharing a bizarre tale, before the big reveal at the end of the post. Michael also revealed that the main character in the original story, who was only referred to as JML, was just a fictionalized version of himself, J. Michael Lutz. Michael then confirmed in the following tweets that the red variant was the original Smile.jpg, making it clear once again that the Polaroid variant was simply a remake. Even after Michael's tweets, a lot of people remained skeptical, as it wasn't the first time someone had falsely claimed the rights to a story and its image. However, Michael had pretty solid proof that he was indeed the original creator. In 2023, while responding to an email from YouTuber KTB, Michael revealed that while SmileDog's internet legend began after the 4chan post in 2009, the initial birth of the story actually happened a few months earlier on September 2008. Michael was a student at Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana, when he first posted the original story on his student webpage. He also linked the story to his personal Facebook page, as he wanted to see if he could trick any of his friends. Michael's student page, where the original SmileDog story was initially shared, was hosted by his college in 2008. And while the hosting server has since been wiped, Michael still has a photo of the original post that predates both the public release of Smile.jpg and the original 4chan post. That said, there are still some people out there who argue that Michael's claims are false, as they cite the EXIF data of the supposed original Smile.jpg from the 2009 4chan thread. Tracing the EXIF data of this image did reveal that the file was created on September 28, 2002, before it was last modified on March 9, 2003. It's possible this was probably one of the Anon's attempts to fake it better by altering the image's EXIF data in an attempt to add to the SmileDog lore. Once again, this is just my speculation. No one really knows which image this metadata was taken from. In the same email thread between KTB and Michael, he also confirmed that he still had all the source images he used to create the original Smile.jpg. However, when asked why he hasn't shared them publicly, Michael said he doesn't share the source images widely in case he ever ends up in court over the story or the original image. He went on to explain why he keeps these assets close, stating that he knows certain individuals in Hollywood are always looking to capitalize on seemingly authorless or free IP. Michael also added that he prefers SmileDog to freely remain in the hands of the creepypasta community, which is why he's kept these assets for so long, in case he ever needs to fight for this in courts. However, he did reveal that most of the base images have already been found, and he even went on to confirm the meme husky image as the sourced husky for the original Smile.jpg. Michael did say he may release the original source assets to Smile.jpg in a controlled manner after the mystique has faded in 5 to 10 years. Even though the majority of questions surrounding the image have been answered, it's still wild to think that a fictional story and a creepy image that were cooked up by a college student had a real effect on millions of people who saw it. There used to be a very thin line between creepypastas and reality back then, and the simple power of suggestion went a long way in making these stories feel real. As silly as it is nowadays, this would explain the comments I came across, where real people shared just how terrifying Smile.jpg was back in the day, with many claiming they saw both variants in their dreams. All of these accounts left me curious, and I want to know if anyone watching had similar experiences. So it'd be great to hear about your own personal experiences when you first saw Smile.jpg. And for those who've never encountered this image before and are just seeing SmileDog for the first time, don't forget to spread the word.
Hey guys, Blame It on George here, and this is the Where Did These Images Come From iceberg. It was created by SourceBrew, and his video will be linked in the description below. But I thought it was such a cool idea, and many of these topics are nostalgic for me, so I got the okay from SourceBrew to cover it on my channel. He and some other creators are here to narrate a few entries. Anyways, on with the video. Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is a horror character, created in the early 2010s as a creepypasta, a staple genre of internet folklore. The story involves a young boy named Jeff, who undergoes a traumatic event, leading to his transformation into a psychotic killer. The accompanying image depicts a pale, emotionless face with a wide, disturbing smile and black eyes. The character in other media is often portrayed with a disheveled appearance and a menacing expression. For several years, it was believed that the Jeff the Killer image originated from a 2008 4chan post about Katie Robinson, a young girl who committed suicide after being cyberbullied. 4chan users supposedly edited a photo of her into Jeff the Killer, but this was later proven to be untrue, as earlier appearances of the image online began to get discovered. Searchers eventually found that the image could be traced back to Japan, and are currently investigating several persons of interest.
Stairs in the Woods. The Stairs in the Woods image is a popular internet meme and photo featuring a set of stairs leading into a dense forest. It is often used to symbolize mystery or the unknown. The phenomenon itself and many of the images it spawned all seem to appear around the same time, and even inspired its own subreddit, dedicated to images of stairs in the woods, which seem to create this uneasy and dreadful feeling. So, how did the picture come to be in the first place? It would turn out that the image is completely real, and that the stairs are there thanks to an art project by the name of Observatory, by an artist named Bruce Allen in 1988. He built the stairs as a protest to the deforestation happening at the time, and as a way to also admire the surrounding forest scenery. It resides in the Forest of Dean in England, and was inspired by ancient astronomical observatories in India. It was actually decommissioned in 2014, but its legacy observatories in India. It was actually to also admire the surrounding forest scenery. It resides in the Forest of Dean in England, and was inspired by ancient astronomical observatories in India. It was actually decommissioned in 2014, but its legacy lives on, such as in these uncanny images.
Smile Dog. Smile Dog, being one of the most famous of these images, is a terrifying picture of a husky with a rather unsettling smile, and it spawned a creepypasta story of the same name. In the story, Smile Dog is a supernatural entity taking the form of a demon husky that forces people into spreading his message on the internet lest they be killed by it. As for the image itself, some people seem to give pretty damning proof that Smile Dog was 3 images stitched together in Photoshop of a dark room, a dog, and some teeth. And it seems that one Reddit user located the image used for the dog itself in one Reddit post showcasing a pretty similar looking head, but with a few key differences, likely as a part of the Photoshop. However, there is a second photo with Smile Dog that no one has been able to figure out yet, which remains unsolved.
The Back Rooms. Between 2011 and 2018, a photograph of a large, carpeted room with fluorescent lights and dividing walls circulated the internet. And on May of 2019, an anonymous user made a thread on 4chan's paranormal board asking users to, quote, post disquieting images that just feel off, accompanying the thread with the photograph. Later, a user replied to the post, giving the image its name and the first description of the back rooms. Since its popularity, people have expanded on the concept of the back rooms, introducing levels and hostile creatures that inhabit the space. The image was found to be taken during the renovation of, quote, a former furniture store with plenty of partitions and fake inner walls in Wisconsin. It was of an American hobby shop called Hobby Town, and sometime in 2002, the second story underwent renovations. On June 12, 2002, the progress was photographed with a Sony CyberShot camera, and on March 2, 2003, the various interior views were documented on the renovation's weblog. One photo depicts a carpeted open room with yellow wallpaper and fluorescent lighting on a Dutch angle. This was the image that would go on to inspire the concept of the back rooms, and that is where the image came from.
Teletubbies Hospital Image. This is perhaps one of the most known cursed images, A kid sits in a hospital bed surrounded by what appears to be bootleg Teletubbies, but what really makes it seem unnerving and uncanny is their lack of eyes, making them appear almost soulless. Actually, they're missing multiple features, and it looks like they don't have mouths. The photo was posted to Reddit multiple times, and one commenter pointed out that he recognized the calendar in the background of the photo, saying it must have been Christmas in a UK hospital, with Teletubbies visiting children and giving gifts. The calendar is a Dennis Bergkamp Arsenal calendar, and another commenter would add that since Arsenal is based in Islington, a borough in London, the photo must have been taken in the Great Ormond Street Hospital. It's a famous children's hospital in the neighboring borough of Camden. Teletubbies was first broadcast in March 1997 and was nationally popular not long afterwards, so the photo was probably from around 1998. The proof isn't definitive and mostly speculative, so it's hard to say if it's really a photo from a UK hospital.
Squidward College. An image of a building with Squidward's face plastered on it has become a viral sensation, often referred to online as Squidward Community College. This bizarre meme has circulated widely since its initial appearance in December of 2019, when it was first shared on Twitter. Over time, it inspired countless reposts, memes, and jokes. Now, despite its popularity, the origins of the building remain unclear. The earliest known instance of the image can be traced back to a now unavailable article on airforcebase.net. Some have speculated about its location, with one Reddit user in 2024 claiming it was near Riverside, Chicago. However, this claim has not been verified. A reverse image search reveals that the building has appeared online as far back as 2017, used as a generic example of flat roof architectural design. Yet no concrete evidence has surfaced to confirm the actual location of the structure, or even if it exists in the form seen in the meme. As of 2024, the building's true origins remain unclear.
Red Mist. The Red Mist image is mostly known from a creepypasta about a supposed lost episode named Squidward's. For obvious reasons, this notorious image and associated story isn't officially recognized by Nickelodeon or the SpongeBob creators. However, it would seem that even the person behind the story had no idea who made the pertaining image. To this day, very little is known about the origins of the image, outside of it first surfacing sometime in the early 2000s.
Blank Room Soup. This entry, known as Blank Room Soup, is a disturbing internet meme and creepypasta that originated from a short video clip. The video shows a man sitting in a dimly lit room, eating soup. The man's face is obscured, and the room is bare and unsettling. Costume characters would then enter the room to comfort the man. The exact origins of the video and its meaning are unclear, but it's become a popular subject of discussion and analysis among internet users. Some speculate that the video is a piece of performance art, while others believe it to be a genuine recording of a disturbing event. The costume characters are known as Ray Ray, created by animator Raymond S. Percy. Prior to Blank Room Soup, Percy apparently had some of his props stolen from their RV, including 2 Ray Ray costumes. It's been theorized that whoever stole the costumes created Blank Room Soup, but others believe that Percy himself was in on the gag as a viral marketing stunt.
Liminal spaces. The concept of a liminal space has become popular in recent years, especially on social media platforms and sites like Reddit. People share images and videos of these liminal spaces, often accompanied by eerie or nostalgic music, and sometimes with a strange or creepy story attached. These images invoke an eerie feeling of loneliness and are usually pictures of enclosed, empty, and large spaces. Probably the most eerie thing about these photos is that most liminal spaces are not fake, but rather real-life images which you can trace back to their actual locations, such as the Holiday Inn in Heathrow Airport. However, there exists liminal space artwork too, such as the pool rooms made by Jared Pike.
Slenderman. Slenderman is a fictional supernatural character that originated as a creepypasta internet meme. He is depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless white head and face, wearing a black suit. He is said to stalk, abduct, or scare people, especially children. Those who see him may experience paranoia, insomnia, and other mental health issues. Eric Knudsen, under the pseudonym Victor Surge, created the Slender Man as part of a Photoshop contest on the Something Awful website in 2009. The challenge was to create paranormal images, and Knudsen submitted 2 black and white images featuring a tall, thin figure with a blank face, lurking in the background of photos of children. Knudsen's creation quickly gained popularity, and the Slender Man's backstory and lore were further developed by other internet users.
The Rake. The Rake is a disturbing creature with an uncanny appearance and unsettling behavior. It's a tall, hairless humanoid with long, spindly limbs and a pale, gaunt face. It's said to appear in people's dreams and sometimes in their waking lives, clearly inspired by phenomena such as sleep paralysis. Supposedly, the Rake is a malevolent entity that feeds on fear and can cause psychological distress. It's described as stalking its victims, observing them from the shadows and sometimes causing physical harm. So where does the Rake come from? One user on Reddit says, quote, "It's a promotional image for the video game Resistance 3. It apparently is supposed to be a Grim, which is an enemy from the game. It is quite unlikely that it's a drawing, so I think it's safe to say that it's photoshopped." Other comments were quick to disprove this theory, as the creature from the game looked different than the Rake. Another commenter says that the image originates from an unnamed person's trail camera, and that the Rake is 100% real. He goes on to say that the original poster of the image had sold his property and blocked off acres of land on which the photo was taken. This story seems a bit far-fetched and unlikely, and the origins of the Rake remain unclear.
Eyeless Jack. Eyeless Jack is a tall, slender figure with a pale complexion and, as the name suggests, no eyes. In most depictions, his empty eye sockets ooze a black substance. He is known for being a cannibalistic creature that is drawn to the scent of kidneys. He stalks his victims, typically young people, and then game-ends them in a brutal manner, removing their organs. The first time this image appeared on the internet was June 7th in 2010, posted on 4chan by a user named Arnan. One Twitter user, @PirateCashew, is claimed to be the creator of the original image, and his proof for that is that he posted an unblurred image of Eyeless Jack on his Twitter, an image that nobody else has. So it would seem that he most certainly would be the original creator.
Wario Apparition. The Wario Apparition is a glitch or anomaly that supposedly appears in certain copies of Super Mario 64, depicting a distorted, monstrous version of Wario. The legend suggests that this apparition can be triggered by specific actions or glitches within the game. Apparently, this figure can cause glitches, crashes, or even damage to the game cartridge. It's an uncommon anomaly in the game, and perhaps one of the most popular Super Mario 64 related legends. The explanation for its appearance is that it's allegedly determined by something known as the personalization AI, but what causes it to summon the apparition is unknown. In reality, it's part of a meme that started online and was later edited into footage of the game, making it seem real when it is in fact fake.
Russian sleep experiments. The Russian sleep experiments is a popular creepypasta that tells the tale of a Soviet-era experiment involving a sleep-inhabiting gas on 5 prisoners. The story details how the gas successfully kept the subjects awake, but led to increasingly disturbing and horrific consequences, ultimately resulting in their deaths and a catastrophic lab explosion. While the story is widely shared and often believed to be true, it's entirely fictional. There is no historic or scientific evidence to support its claims. The narrative originated from a combination of real-life sleep deprivation experiments, urban legends, and horror storytelling techniques. And like the images of Slender Man and the Rake, the Russian sleep experiment images have absolutely become iconic in the creepypasta genre. These aren't actually photos from any real-life experiments. The 2 photos associated with the Russian sleep experiments are one of a group of people wearing gas masks and one of a creature/person with a creepy smile and sunken eyes. The reason the people in the first photo are wearing gas masks is allegedly because the photo is a demonstration by American soldiers, showing the different types of masks worn by the Brits, French, and German troops. The more iconic photo of the eerie humanoid-looking creature is actually just a black and white photo of a life-size animatronic Halloween prop called Spasm.
Mario victim number 1. This unsettling image appears briefly in Mario, a ROM hack of the iconic game Super Mario World. Mario Victim Number 1 is part of a larger, full-blown ARG filled with media besides Mario. The image in question depicts a woman with her mouth agape, with a red tint. The story goes that supposedly it's of a woman who was found dead in a sewer pipe, with her eyeballs missing. And apparently the image was lost for many years, but was recently discovered. In contrast to many of the other entries on this iceberg, the image associated with the entry was not created by the creepypasta authors. The truth is that the original image is an edited photo of a Japanese cosplayer of Kyo, a vocalist for a heavy metal band called Deer and Grey, which was discovered on the 1st of September in 2023.
Have you seen this man? Here's a face you've probably seen around the internet. This man is a fascinating and somewhat eerie internet phenomenon created by Italian sociologist and marketer Andrea Nutella. In 2008, Nutella launched a website called Ever Dream This Man, featuring a composite image of a man's face and claiming that numerous people around the world had reported dreaming about this mysterious figure since 2006. The website garnered significant attention and sparked widespread discussion and speculation. Many people shared their own experiences of dreaming about the man, while others questioned the authenticity of the claims. In 2010, Nutella revealed that the site was a hoax as part of a guerrilla marketing campaign. According to him, the image was actually just an illustration of his father, leaving the question of how or why all these other people saw this in their dreams.
Dick the Birthday Boy. I'm sure most of you are familiar with or have heard of Five Nights at Freddy's and know what the animatronics are. But how about in real life? The animatronic in this photo is legitimately frightening to look at. But the origin of this photo is actually pretty funny and wholesome, unlike some other entries we have on here. The blurry photo was originally shared by popular YouTube channel Red Letter Media. The image is actually of Rich Evans of that channel, who is pictured as a child wearing a shirt saying Dick the Birthday Boy on it as he stands alongside Billy Bob Bear, a mascot for a now defunct restaurant, Showbiz Pizza Place. It was later revealed that this was a set of family photos, so this is just one of those more wholesome entries on this list.
Momo. There's an old urban legend about a WhatsApp phone number that will message you disturbing photographs if you attempt to contact it, linked to a game referred to as the Momo Challenge. Ever seen this image? It's very likely you have if you've spent any time online. Momo is a meme turned creepypasta character. The nickname was given to a sculpture of a young woman with long black hair, large bulging eyes, a wide smile, and bird legs. Originally, Momo was created by a Japanese man named Kisuke Aso Aisawa. In 2018, people started stealing images of the sculpture, and stories of the sculpture started to spread around.
Mariana Mortegard Glesgorv. You may have heard of a video on YouTube named Mariana Mortegard Glesgorv. If you search this, you will find a video of a man staring intently at you, and then grinning for the last 2 seconds of the video. The story goes that this short bit is part of a bigger video that YouTube removed after 153 people viewed it and gouged out their eyes, mailing them to YouTube's main office in San Bruno. Periodically, YouTube will let the first few seconds of the video be uploaded to quell the curiosities of the internet, so that people won't go looking for the real thing. That's how the original story went, but in a hilarious twist, people identified the footage to be of an edited video of a guy named Byron Cortez. His image was pulled from a 2004 online survey about marketing professionals.
Goatman. Goatmen are creatures from American folklore that have been prevalent since the 1970s. The exact origins of the Goatman legend itself are difficult to pinpoint, as folklore often evolves over time. When you think of the Goatman, I'd say this photo stands out. It's probably photoshopped or edited in some way, but we don't actually know where the photo emerged from. Some sources say that the photo is of a goat hunter who wanted to test his imitation suit, and that's how the photo came to be. And some say that it was a VFX artist who made it. While the Goatman is a popular urban legend, there is no scientific evidence to support its existence, and not enough documentation to fight the claim either.
Ori Chef. Ori Chef is an internet figure who gained attention for her unsettling social media presence, especially on Facebook. People noticed that Ori's profiles only featured a small set of photos, slightly edited each time. Even stranger, Her friends and linked accounts were just more profiles of ORHF, sharing similar posts. Some accounts were said to include disturbing content like violent imagery and chilling claims about wanting to harm her children. One red filter photo was tied to a story about a woman whose botched plastic surgery led to tragic consequences. Many theories emerged about Ori's identity. Some thought it was one person with a dark sense of humor, others suspected her group or even a bot. The real story, however, is much simpler. The woman behind these accounts admitted she made them for Facebook games, and later embraced the creepy persona when people started spreading rumors. The infamous photo wasn't connected to Ori at all. It's of a Sydney woman who survived a car accident, leaving her with minor facial injuries. Unfortunately, she became a target of harassment due to the legend.
Black Ghost Woman. Here's a much more obscure entry. It's a picture of two Japanese girls looking out a window. One smiling and one kinda looking sad. Behind a sad girl is a mysterious and eerie black silhouette. Doing a bit of digging, this is likely a visualization of a Japanese urban legend known as the Shadow Lady, or Kagayana. The legend is about a ghostly figure that appears as a shadow on windows and doors. The shadowy figure is often depicted as a young woman or an old crone. To explain the image in question for people who are wondering, according to YouTuber Sakura Stardust, is from a 2005 Japanese film titled Only the Two of Us.
Liars.
A Japanese film titled Only the Two of Us. Stardust is from a 2005 Japanese film titled Only the Two of Us.
Liars. Jimmy. Delving into much lesser-known territory, here's a blurred image of a person with a seemingly disfigured face in a snowy setting. Enter Jimmy. One day, an angry classmate named Brett finally had enough of Jimmy's wise guy attitude after he made a crude joke about him. He and a group of kids who hated Jimmy cornered him after school, dragged him into the science lab, and poured acid on his face, causing burns that scarred him horribly. The principal questioned them, and he told them that Jimmy did it to himself, and that they were only there to help him, which he believed. Jimmy was horrified that they got away with what they had done, and he planned his revenge on each of them while in the hospital. Months later, Brett receives a videotape in the mail, and upon watching the tape realizes that his friends who had a hand in disfiguring Jimmy were tortured and killed. Brett, fearing for his life, tries to run away only to be tripped by Jimmy. The story ends with Jimmy saying the phrase, "liars," before pouring acid all over Brett, killing him. The mysterious image attached to the story is actually from a music video for a song called "We Fenced Other Gardens with the Bones of Our Own" by an experimental rock band named Liars. In the music video, it shows a group of 3 friends with animal makeup attacking each other.
Skinwalker. This is an image of what's supposed to be a skinwalker. Skinwalkers are technically a cryptid from the Navajo mythology who possesses the ability to shapeshift into animals, most commonly being in the form of a wolf, coyote, or bird. In Navajo culture, skinwalkers are considered to be malevolent beings who use their power to harm others. They are said to prey on the living, causing sickness, misfortune, and even death. The fear of skinwalkers is deeply ingrained in Navajo culture, and many people believe that they still exist today. The image in question of what is allegedly a skinwalker is from a now deleted 2014 Facebook post that says the image is a picture captured by a geologist of this entity. But in reality, the image is just a screenshot from a 1983 horror film called Zatro.
Creepy Barney. So there's a trend on the internet of taking the beloved children's character Barney the dinosaur and making him appear creepy through various image manipulations and memes. Or in this case, just what happens to be an incredibly scuffed Barney costume. Unlike most of our entries on the list, it's actually quite hard to find anything about this picture outside of a Reddit thread by a now deleted user who uploaded the photo, claiming it to be of his friend when he was a kid. It was uploaded to the r/creepy subreddit over 9 years ago, and the user even commented on his post, saying that he would often ask his friend from the photo for more details about it. But the uploader never came back to their post, and their account has been deleted, so to this day we still don't actually know anything about it. Mickey Mouse Basement. The Mickey Mouse Basement image became widely memed and has gained widespread popularity online. There's a person standing in the photo wearing various Mickey Mouse cosplay items like gloves and boots, and most notably, an eerily broken Mickey Mouse mask/head. A Reddit user was actually able to find a second image too, and yet we still don't know anything, as neither did the uploader who found the second image. Most theories surrounding the photos all share the sentiment that it's just another random cursed photo for creepypastas and memes about some dudes who are probably messing around and decided to put on a dirty Mickey suit to pose in a basement for a scary photo. One of the only leads we have is of an X/Twitter user at Nico Della Fabs, who posted that their friend dated the guy posing as Mickey in the photo, but they would never elaborate or comment further on their thread.
Ghost Mirror Girl. As with some of the older entries on this list, this entry is actually a video. It's one of the first known fake ghost videos on YouTube and is a classic screamer video uploaded in 2008 by ncook1234. As of 2024, the original has accumulated more than 111 million views, and it was also the first screamer of 2008. The video starts by showing a young girl who is putting on her earrings. After she puts them on, she briefly looks away and waves to the camera. Then the camera zooms in on the mirror, and the young girl's reflection turns demonic, as her eyes and mouth widen, screaming at the camera while the real girl still waves at the camera. This classic video has a sequel too, titled Possessed Girl Beheads Herself in Her Bedroom, that was uploaded in 2009. It features a woman going up to what is possibly her daughter hiding under a blanket and pulls it off of her, revealing her possessed state.
Gates' face. Here's a relatively recent image. Gates' face appears to be a deformed person in front of a black background, and it's usually seen with a caption saying that it was found on a singular copy of the Microsoft trivia tape. Whatever that is, it's never really explained. A commenter on a Reddit thread researching this image would go on to write that it originated from AI with the prompt Jeff the Killer, later modified with some filters and posted as a creepypasta. They say that it's unclear who posted it first. They wrote that their proof was from a TikTok account making many creepy AI images. This seems to be the most likely origin of it, and the unedited version really does look like Jeff the Killer a bit.
Dolphin Muzzle. This is the entity known as the Dolphin Man. Originally, this video was posted on YouTube in 2007, and it was titled Dolphin Muzzle and was posted by the YouTube channel called North Fur. The 40-second video shows a man in a dolphin mask, and its uncanny look likely creeped people out. The costume and the makeup were a realistic depiction of a dolphin's appearance if it were mixed with a human. The low-fidelity camera didn't help in regards of how scary it might have appeared either. Definitely is in that uncanny valley vibe. Then, recently, in the last few years, this video resurfaced on TikTok and YouTube with people adding twists to the original video. In reality, the creator of this original video actually sells these masks and muzzles for costume purposes. And it's not just dolphin costumes, but tons of other animals like walruses, rhinos. You can find their products on northfur.ca. And to everyone's wholesome surprise, the man underneath the costume turns out to be a really chill guy, based on the tutorials and showcases that you can find on the North Fur FX YouTube channel.
"1983 Clown. If you've stumbled upon this haunting clown animatronic for the first time, good luck sleeping tonight. This unsettling figure was created in 1983 by Aaron Fechter of Creative Engineering Inc., who served as a mall kiosk greeter for the IAAPA convention. Its original purpose was to welcome visitors, but its eerie appearance has since earned it a place in internet horror lore. The clown, dressed in a vibrant and colorful costume, complete with a wig, was designed to showcase Creative Engineering's costume department. It was positioned inside a booth resembling a carousel, featuring 4 white bars and a circular, multicolored top. Since the animatronic lacks legs, it sat on a large, colorful wooden platform. While the show tape that powered the clown is largely a mystery, it is known to have had 6 movements. However, the jerky motions combined with its vacant stare have only amplified its creepy reputation. Today, the clown's face has melted, its original head mechanism is missing and stuffed, and its eyes have been replaced. The booth it once sat in has been dismantled and placed in storage. Despite this, the animatronic itself still resides in the basement of Creative Engineering Inc., rotting away. The clown's name and original audio remain unknown, as no sound accompanies the show tape.
Satan's Sphinx. This image is usually accompanied by a caption saying that the boy went missing in a town in South Carolina. The image is tied to an alleged video called Satan's Sphinx. The video doesn't exist, and it's just a creepypasta that originated on 4chan. According to the legend, watching the video can lead to severe mental and physical harm, including hallucinations, paranoia, and in some cases, even death. But the real truth is that picture is actually from an album called Decade of Dust, made by a band fittingly named Hell Horse. Furthermore, people have determined that the freaky masks worn by the people in the photo are due to an old tradition called Krampus, which served as a way to punish children who had been bad. These people would put on those masks and dress up and run through the streets, which would be crowded by spectators as they tried to scare children and show them that bad behavior is, wrong.
Grave Robbing for Morons. Grave Robbing for Morons is a mysterious and intriguing video that has captivated the internet for years. It's a VHS tape recorded in the 1980s by an unidentified teenager who provides a bizarre and somewhat comical tutorial on how to rob graves. The video's creator gave his and the cameraman's names, being Anthony and Gino, but somehow still managed to remain anonymous, adding to its mystique. One of the biggest questions surrounding the video is whether it's a genuine instructional guide or a satirical piece. Some believe that the video is a genuine attempt to teach people how to rob graves, while others argue that it's a satirical work meant to mock the idea of grave robbing.
Tomino's Hell. This entry stands out because it's centered around a poem rather than just a creepy image. Tomino's Hell is a Japanese poem by Saijo Yaso, published in 1919 as part of his 27th poetry collection. Over time, an eerie legend has formed around it, claiming that the poem should only be read silently. According to the rumor, reciting it out loud brings misfortune or tragedy, though the origins of this superstition are unclear. The story became widely discussed on the Japanese forum 2channel, where users would read the poem and share their experiences. While many claim nothing unusual happened, others posted chilling accounts before disappearing from the conversation entirely. The image often linked to Tomino's Hell is actually a cropped painting by Japanese artist Yuko Tatsushima titled, "I Can No Longer Be a Bride." The painting was reportedly inspired by the artist's personal trauma following. In Japanese culture, such events were often associated with stigma, making it difficult for women to marry or maintain their reputation, hence the painting and its title.
Desiree Snake Hands. This is one of the freakiest entries on the iceberg, both because of the person it pertains to and because we know so little about it. The sole details and resources available for this mysterious and creepy image is a single Reddit post on r/creepy, posted by a user named SpaceC. The only lead we have is from a commenter whose profile is now deleted, who wrote this, quote, Desiree Snake Hands, a street performer from 1930s Manila, was born and raised in the city where she did most of her busking for other poor urchins, and was noted for being arrested on 5 separate occasions regarding the sudden disappearances of other children. Never once was enough evidence produced to convict her, but her behavior in the ramshackle wooden courts of law included eye-crossing, vivid and violent mimicry, screaming at intervals, and bouts of juggling was enough to frighten the jury. By 1941, she became ill of typhoid and was found dead on a rooftop in one of the wealthiest parts of town, above the house of a notable theater producer. It was still unknown how her act was performed at this point. Some evidence suggests that this is a hoax and a piece of performance art done by an artist named Zhu Ming in 1981, but the evidence is not entirely concrete, even though it's all we have.
Falling body. This is the falling body image, also known as the Cooper family photo. It's a photo of what appears to be 2 female family members with 2 kids on their laps sitting at a table with an upside-down, unidentified body hanging out in front of them. The photo's pretty well known too. It was taken in the 1950s and there was a book written about it called Urban Legend: The True Story of the Cooper Family Photo by Richard Ramsdell. Allegedly, the first day the family moved in, they took a picture of their new home. When the picture was developed, the image of the body falling from the ceiling was clearly visible. Many of the current theories are that it's either a ghost, a hoax, or what I believe to be most likely a simple camera malfunction.
Mannequin head under stall. Approaching some of our scariest entries on the list, we have this incredibly off-putting image of a mannequin head peeking under a toilet stall. It's really just a cursed image / screenshot from a 2016 YouTube video, taken from a prank video where they prank people using bathroom stalls by putting a mannequin head under and over the stalls. It's since then been used in various creepypastas and hoaxes, most notably one known as the McGrady tape, which is a creepypasta story about a supposed videotape dropped off at a Blockbuster in McGrady, North Carolina, containing a recording of a person's face looking under a bathroom stall for 40 minutes straight.
Black Figures Ritual. In this picture, 10 hooded figures can be seen surrounding a car and performing some sort of ritual. Outside of the appearance of the car itself, the picture being black and white would indicate that it was taken a long time ago. I couldn't find any background information on it, let alone its origins. All I found were 1 or 2 memes using this picture. But after extensive searching, I found out that it's from a late 90s American short independent horror film called Coven. It's about a guy named Mike who is at his wit's end, and is convinced by the only friend he has left to join a support group that later turns out to have a deeper occult agenda, and who uses extreme, sometimes supernatural tactics to help new members remain clean and sober. I just wanted to add context to the photo.
The Expressionless. The Expressionless is a somewhat obscure creepypasta about a strange and demonic woman who arrived at the Cedars-Sinai Hospital in June 1971 wearing a bloodied white gown. Long story short, she goes on to say that she's God and ends up killing everyone at the hospital, except for the nurse who would tell the story itself, and would also dub the woman as the Expressionless. However, the real origin of the photo is that it's a picture of 2 student nurses and a waxworks dummy used for training. The picture was taken by photographer Lord Snowden in 1968 for his book Assignments.
SCP-106. Officially, the origin of the first original picture of SCP-106 is still anonymous. It's believed that it originated from one of 4chan's creepy threads. There was a thread that said the whole picture was photoshopped, while the face was taken from World War I and the body was taken from a random male model. It's a topic that has been milked a lot, yet no one really knows or has any new information on where this image comes from. The creator himself was the one who said he got it from 4chan, and it's likely been lost to the internet through time. A prominent theory is that it's more likely a painting. You can see an unfinished section of his arm with brushstrokes. You'll also notice the buttons on his vest and some white dots sprinkled throughout, which also makes it look more akin to a painting. If this is the case, we don't know who painted it or what it was originally supposed to be, and there's a pretty good chance that we'll never know, leaving the origin of this eerie image to be, well, unknown.